Hey everybody, JC here with another T&I toy review. And for today's review, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new 1/12 scale Mortal Kombat Sub-Zero figure from Storm Collectibles. Now this figure comes packaged in a window box. You've got the figure clearly displayed. Off to the side you have some artwork for the character, and that goes off to the side. Then down below you have the Mortal Kombat logo, video game logo, and the name of the character. On the other side you have an image of the figure. And then on the back of the packaging, you have more images of the figure showing off the various accessories and poses and a brief bio. Alright, let's get this open and take a look at what's inside. Okay, so here's a look at the figure outside the packaging along with all the other contents. Now, first of all, you do get an instruction sheet that shows you how to work all the accessories and everything. The figure comes with 4 different pairs of hands and then 1 extra right hand. So you get a pair of closed-fisted hands, and these are the ones that are attached to the figure when you first take it out of the packaging. Then you just get a pair of normal open hands. Then you get a pair of open grip type hands. Then you get these pair of open hands, and these are for holding the ice effect that he comes with, and I'll show you that in just a moment. And then finally you get this extra right hand, and that's for holding the skull and spine that he comes with, and again I'll show you that in just a moment. And all the hands are made with that kind of rubber type material, so the fingers, they do kind of bend, and each one has the little pad over the knuckles. You've got some nice wash effect there, so it looks like it's actual metal. Switching out the hands is easy. You just pull off the hand you want to replace. Now it is a double peg system, so sometimes that peg might come off with the hand. If that happens, just pull the peg out from the hand and plug it back into the arm. And then also to note, when you remove the hands, these wrist guards are actually removable. They're separate pieces. They're done with just kind of a rubber type material. So when you take the hands off, you can remove those if you want. And then snapping on the different hand is easy. You just plug it in and it should fit nice and tight. The figure comes with 2 different mask pieces. He comes with the one from the second Mortal Kombat game, and that's the one that's attached to the figure when you first take it out of the packaging. And it's got the little vents sculpted on there with the black. And this is actually my preferred look for the character. I like the overall head sculpt with the whited out eyes, good skin tone, and then he's got this hood piece which is done with just a vinyl type material. Now to switch the masks out, the easiest way to do it is just to pop the head off. It attaches with a ball joint. And then once you do that, you can just kind of pry the mask off with your fingers and it comes off pretty easily. You've got the little peg on the inside of the mask and the hole in the face. The face does look kind of funny when you don't have the mask on. We saw the same thing with the Scorpion figure, which is hitting shelves now. And then you just take the second mask, which is the mask based from the first Mortal Kombat game. Looks more like a cloth mask. You've got the wrinkles sculpted on there and you can kind of make out the nose. So I like the sculpting detail on that. And then once you have that on, and you want to make sure that you get it underneath the hood piece, you slide the mask underneath the hood piece, then you just pop the head back on and it should pop on nice and tight. The figure also comes with a skull and spine to recreate his fatality move, and I like the sculpting detail and paint applications on this. You've got the teeth sculpted in there and the eyes, and you've got some black in the eyes and throughout the skull, and the rest is kind of red to look like blood. And I like how the skull is actually attached to a ball joint, so you can move it a little bit. You can kind of pivot it to the left and the right, and you can move it back and forth, and you can turn it a little bit. So I like that. The jaw is not articulated or anything. And then I like the detailing down the spine and everything. So it looks very true to the spine he uses, again, when you see him pull it out of his opponent in his fatality move. And then when you want him to hold it, the best hand to use is that special right hand that he comes with, and he'll hold it nice and tight. The fingers, again, are made with that kind of rubber material, so you can just kind of pry him open a little bit and get him to hold it. And again, he holds it nice and tight. The figure comes with 2 different ice effects. So one ice effect is for his ice kick, and this is done with a semi-translucent blue plastic, and you've got some white frosting to give it that ice look. So I think it looks pretty good. And what you do is you just set this on the ground, and then you just kind of put his foot inside of the ice piece so it looks like he's sliding it across the ground. And then the second ice effect he comes with is one for shooting out of his hand. And again, this is done with the semi-translucent plastic, blue plastic, and you've got the white frosting on it. So pretty nice detailing. And to attach this one, you want to make sure you have one of the hands with the fingers straight out. And then what you do is on the wide end of the ice blast, you'll notice there's some finger indentations there. And you want to make sure that on the tip end that the longer piece is on the top, And then what you do is you just slide it into the fingers. They should match up with the fingers on this hand, and then it'll fit nice and tight, and it looks like he's shooting the ice effect out of his fingertips. Okay, so for the figure itself, this is essentially the same figure that we got with Scorpion, which, as I mentioned before, is hitting now. Same sculpt and everything. The only real difference is that Sub-Zero is blue and Scorpion has got the yellow. But that's how they were in the video game, so, you know, that's not a big deal to me. Like with Scorpion, this figure incorporates a lot of that kind of rubber vinyl type material, so the outer piece of the shirt here is a separate piece, and you can kind of pull it down from the figure. It's not actually removable or anything, but you know, it is a loose separate piece. And then it kind of hangs down here, and then you've got this piece here that again is that rubber type material. The entire shirt piece actually is that kind of soft rubber material. You can actually kind of push in here on the chest, and then this piece around the neck is actually a separate piece, so it'll kind of pop out sometimes, so you have to kind of push it back in, but that's to give the figure more movement there at the neck. And then, as I mentioned before, he's got the shin guards, which are separate pieces, and I like the wash effect to make it look like it's metal. And then the legs are sculpted, the pants are sculpted with plastic, as are the shin guards. And again, you've got that kind of wash effect with the silver to make it look like it's metal. And then you've got some nice sculpting detail on the feet with the toes. The articulation is pretty good on this figure. You can turn the head to the left and to the right, and he can look down pretty good, and he can look back pretty good as well. Now, you do get a little bit of a gap between the neck piece and the head. You can see that inner neck joint there when you have him look back, but that's not a big deal. And then he can pivot his head to the left and to the right. So he's got overall good head movement. Arms attached with your standard ball hinge joint at the shoulder, so he can get his arm out good. He's got good rotation, and he's got that butterfly type joint, so you've got good back and forth movement there at the shoulder as well. He's got a bicep swivel. He's got a double hinge type elbow, so he's got good bending at the elbow. He's got swivels at the wrist, and then you've got the ball hinge joints there at the hand, so you've got good back and forth movement with the hands. Then he's got a midsection joint, so you've got good rotation, even though this outer piece does limit some of that movement, but overall you can still rotate there pretty good at the midsection. He can also crunch down pretty good there at the midsection, and then he can look back at the midsection as well. You can also kind of pivot to the left and to the right there at the midsection. And then besides that, he also has a waist swivel, so you got additional rotation there. And again, you can kind of pivot to the left and the right there at the waist. Bend a little bit, crunch a little bit, but not too much, and then can look back a little bit at the waist as well. The legs are attached with ball joints, so he can do the splits really good. He can get his leg forward good, and then he can do his leg back pretty good as well. You get a swivel up high there with that ball joint, so not a true thigh swivel, but you do have rotation up high there. Got a double hinged knee, so good bending at the knee. And then you have hinges on the feet, so up and down movement and rotation. Now the feet are attached with ball joints, so you get a little bit of pivot, but not a whole lot. And then has toe articulation and no peg holes on the bottom of the feet. So this figure stands about 6 3/4 inches tall. Here's a comparison with the Storm Collectibles Scorpion figure, which is the same height, and then their Street Fighter V Ryu figure, which is a little bit taller. And here's a comparison with the 6-inch scale Hasbro Marvel Legends Scarlet Spider-Man, and then the Diamond Select Toys 7-inch scale Destroyer figure. Here's a comparison with one of the Mattel 6-inch DC Multiverse Dawn of Justice Superman figures, and then a DC Collectibles 7-inch scale Batman Arkham figure. Here's a comparison with the Mezco Mortal Kombat Scorpion figure, and then the Jazzwares 6-inch Mortal Kombat Scorpion figure. And then finally, here's a comparison with the old Soda Toy 6-inch scale Street Fighter Guile figure, along with NECA Toys Nathan Drake and Kratos figures, which are 7-inch scale figures. Okay, so that's my review. So overall, I like this figure. I like the sculpting detail, I like the accessories that come with it, and I like the posability. You can get it in some pretty good poses. Now, if you have the Scorpion figure that has been released, then you should know what to expect for this one, since it is basically the same figure. But again, I like the overall look of it, and I like the fact that it's based on the classic Mortal Kombat game. Now this figure will be released pretty soon. Scorpion's hitting now, and then their Street Fighter V Ryu figure will be shipping next, and then after that will be Sub-Zero, which I believe should be within like the next month. We'll have a full image gallery up at toynewseye.com. There'll be a link in the video description below. As always, leave a comment. Let us know what you think. If you're so inclined, please like the video. Also, if you haven't already, please follow me on my Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. I'll have links to those in the video description as well. And until next time, I'll catch you later.